In today's video, I'm gonna be showing you step by step everything you need to know about successfully selling on eBay. And we're gonna be going over everything all the way from creating your account to the best tips and tricks for being able to sell your items for the maximum amount of money every single time. And just so you know that you're not learning from someone who hasn't done this, you're not wasting your time, here is a screenshot of my lifetime eBay sales, and about 25% of this was pure profit. So I've been able to make a relatively significant amount of money with selling on eBay. And so the last thing I'll mention before we get into today's video is that if you're a reseller, or if you're just someone who's trying to make extra income on top of your job, or maybe you don't even have a job right now and you're looking to make more money, what I do besides for make these videos is I run a reselling group called the House of Profits, where we teach you how to make money with reselling, and we send you daily notifications directly to your phone, directly to your computer for profitable items that you can purchase and then flip on these websites like eBay or on Facebook Marketplace to make extra income and to sell these items for some very easy profits. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, it is completely free to come and join and to come and check it out. And it'll be that first link down in the description below. And with all that being said, let's get into the video. So the first thing we're gonna discuss is just a high-level overview of how eBay works. Simply put, you have an item that you wanna sell, you list that item on eBay's marketplace. If someone buys that item from you, you then ship out that item to that person, and then you get paid. Pretty simple, but there's some things that can get confusing, and there's a lot of just different tips and tricks that you can utilize that I don't think a lot of people know about. And by the end of this video, you're gonna be very confident in your ability to sell on eBay and be able to make a lot of money with doing it. When you go to make an eBay account, you're gonna see two different options. The first is going to be a personal account, and the second is going to be a business account. There's a few important pieces of information that you need to know about this. And the first one is that you have to be over 18 if you wanna sign up for an eBay account. If you're not over 18, you can try to ask your parents if they would sign up for an eBay account under their name. But just keep in mind that if you end up doing a lot of sales, there is a chance that eBay will send them a 1099 tax form. And so just make sure that they're aware of that. The other point is that, like I said, you can either do a personal or a business account, but for the majority of people watching this video, more than likely a personal account is gonna be the way to go. And one thing you can keep in mind is that if you make your personal account, and once again, you start doing a ton of sales and you start making a lot of money and you're taking this more seriously, and maybe you turn eBay selling into your full-time business, then what you can do is you can just switch that personal account to a business account at any time. After you fill this page out, eBay is gonna want more information. They're gonna have to verify your identity. So you wanna make sure that you complete that, and then your account is gonna be fully set up and ready to go. One thing to keep in mind right after you create your eBay account is that eBay is gonna put selling restrictions on a fresh account. And so what that means is that you're only gonna be able to sell a certain dollar amount of items within your first month. Usually this is around $500 or $1,000 worth of items. And so basically there's not much you can do about this. You're gonna make your account, they're gonna put the seller limits on, and you're gonna sell some items, ship them out quickly, get good feedback, and then eBay is automatically gonna raise up those seller limits to you. The next thing to keep in mind is that it is super, super important to warm up your eBay account. Once you make your account, once you start selling items, the number one way and the number one thing you should be focusing on is getting feedback from people that are buying your items. And I'm gonna tell you how to do this in just a second. My account has a ton of positive feedback. And what that means is that if me and you, we went onto eBay, we both had our accounts, and your account was brand new, I'm using my account with a ton of history and a ton of feedback. If we were to go and list the exact same item, same title, same pictures, same description, the exact same item, same price, okay, everything was identical about the listings that we made, mine would sell much faster than yours. Like night and day, mine is gonna sell much faster than your item. And the reason for that is because my account is warmed up and it's trusted. So the question is, what should you do? You wanna get over 10 positive feedbacks on your account. And that's sort of the point where your account starts to get warmed up and you start to get a little bit more traction on your listings. And ultimately, you're able to sell your items for a higher price and you're able to sell them much faster too. Not everyone that buys items on your eBay account is gonna be leaving you reviews. And so you're gonna have to push a little bit to be able to get this positive feedback on your account. And one of the best ways to do this is just drop a little thank you note, like a little handwritten note. Hey, thanks for buying my item from me, and just drop it in the box. Can you please leave me feedback on my eBay account? And then you can even leave like little instructions on how they can do that. Hey, just go to your recently purchased items, click on the item, and then it'll say leave feedback. I'd really appreciate this. It helps out my account a lot. The other thing you can do besides for dropping that thank you note is, let's just say you saw that the item got delivered to the person who bought it from you. Just send them a message on eBay directly through eBay's Messenger. You can say, hey, would you mind leaving me feedback on the item that you just bought from me? I can also leave you feedback and let eBay know and let people know that you were a good buyer as well. You're not a scammer, everything's smooth, there wasn't any issues. And so feedback goes both ways. And so just simply messaging the person after they bought your item and just saying, hey, you please leave me feedback? That is another super great way, and I'm telling you, you are gonna see results from it. Another question you might be asking is, what items do I even sell? And the very obvious first answer to just kind of build up that feedback on your account, and whether you're just trying to get rid of personal items in your life or whether you're actually trying to be a reseller and flip on eBay and make profit and make extra income every month, I recommend starting pretty much in the same spot, which is just a look around your house and see if you have any items that might be worth selling on eBay. And we're gonna talk about how to actually see what your items are worth a little bit later in the video, but that is by far the easiest way. So just start selling clothes, selling any random old electronics. Another way to find items to sell on eBay that I see a lot of other people doing is you can go to thrift stores, you can go to garage sales. And basically all you're gonna do is you're gonna walk around the garage sale, you're gonna pick up an item, you're gonna look at the name of it, see if there's any description, and then you're gonna look that item up on eBay, see how much it's selling for. Let's say that item's selling for $50 and the garage sale only wants $5 for it. That's an item that you would buy, and then you would go to eBay and you would flip it. Most of the items that I sell and how I've personally been able to make all of my money with eBay and with reselling is a little bit different. I like to call this high demand flipping, where you're basically finding items that you know people are already interested in and you know that people want, and then you're able to buy those items online or from your retail stores, and then you're able to instantly list them on eBay and then flip them for a profit. I'm gonna show you a few recent examples of this just so you can get an idea of how this works and you could see if this is something that you're interested in. As you could see on screen now, I just posted a recent success post from one of our members, and you can see that he bought this PlayStation virtual reality headset. Super random item. I don't really know anything about it. I'm sure he didn't really know anything about it either. But long story short, his Walmart, his local Walmart store, had this on clearance for $105. He paid $105 after tax, and the normal retail price that everywhere else is selling these for is $399. So his specific store was trying to get rid of the inventory. They clearanced this item way down, and he was able to pick it up for 75% off the original price. Now, if we were to go on eBay and we were to look up this exact same item, which I just searched it up, what we can do is we can scroll down here on the side and we can click on sold items. And so if we click on that, we can see that here was one that sold yesterday for $339, okay, brand new. Pre-owned $250. We only really want to be looking at brand new because that's the one that my member was able to get. And it looks like they're selling for around $330. So he walked into his local Walmart store, he paid $105 for it, and he was instantly able to list it on eBay, and he's able to get around $330, which is gonna be around $200 in profit like that, okay? It's pretty insane. It's pretty insane, and these are happening throughout the entire year. It's really such an awesome side hustle and just such an awesome way to make money. And this is something that we do within my group. So as you can see, here's another example. I was able to get these Pokemon cards directly from Pokemon Center's website. And what we did in the group is we knew these were going to be releasing. We knew they were going to be very profitable. And so we sent out a notification, hey everyone, make sure that when these drop and when they release on Pokemon Center's website, you're buying as many as you could. And I was able to get 3 of these. So this box cost me $59.99. Okay, I was able to get 3 of them. So I paid around $180, $190 after tax for all 3 of them, okay? And as you could see, I was able to sell this on eBay for $349.99. And so all I did was I knew they were gonna be dropping on this website due to our group, and I was able to buy 3 of them at this $59.99 price point. And then what I did is right after the drop, I listed it as a pre-sale on eBay, and I was able to sell it the next day for $350. So I made around $250 in profit after fees off of one box. And I was able to sell another one for $330, and then I still have another one that I'm actually gonna be holding on to for the long run. But hopefully that is getting your brain turning. Hopefully that makes sense. And those are just 3 different examples of pretty simple ways that you're able to get items to make profit, to be able to sell them on eBay or even Facebook Marketplace, and just to make money in general. So now let's say that you have an item that you're ready to list on eBay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the first example that we talked about, which was the PlayStation virtual headset, and we're gonna pretend like we're listing that for our member. And so there's 2 main ways that you're able to list an item on eBay. Number 1 is you can tap this sell button right at the top of the screen here, and then you can click on create listing. And basically this is gonna be creating a listing from scratch. Okay, and I pretty much never do this. I do the second way. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna come and we're gonna search up that item once again. We're gonna go to sold listings, and then we're gonna find a listing that we like, a listing that looks good, a listing where someone was able to get a lot of money for the item. And so this right here is a perfect example, okay? They sold it for $339. It is a very recent sale. We are going to click on this listing, all right? And then we can scroll down and it says have one to sell, sell now, okay? And so what this is gonna do is it's basically gonna take that entire listing and it's gonna fill out all the information for us, okay? And so there's already a stock image of the item on here. You can see what this guy did is he went to Google and he probably just downloaded these pictures. And so I'll just kind of show you, like, you can go to Google, click on images, and then you can just go and pick items directly from images. Or what I like to do is I like to go to a major retailer because usually they have a lot of pictures, and like PlayStation's direct website, that's a pretty easy one. And what you can do is you can just right click, save image, and then you can just name it whatever, like picture 1, you can go here, picture 2, and then you can go through the rest of them if you wanted to, but I usually only include kind of the main ones. And then you can just go and drag it here. That's picture 1, drag it there, that's picture 2, and then you can just do that. And so I don't usually ever take pictures of my items. And the reason for this is because I mainly only sell new items. Okay, but if you were to be going to garage sales, or you're going to thrifting, or you're selling items from your personal belongings, then in those cases, you're most likely gonna wanna take pictures, especially make sure to take pictures of any blemishes or issues or wrinkles, whatever, right? You want to not sell the item as a brand new item because it's not. It's used and there might be little things wrong with it. And you just wanna make sure that you relay that and you tell the person who's gonna be buying your item from you everything that's wrong with it, okay? Because they're gonna open up the package, they're gonna see it eventually. If it doesn't match your listing description, if you didn't include a picture of a pretty big issue with the item, then you're most likely gonna receive negative feedback. And like we've been talking about the entire time, that is not something that you wanna get. And so when I'm listing new items, you can still take a picture of it, okay? And you just wanna make sure that you have some relatively good lighting. All right, you don't want to be in a dark room taking a picture of it. Like a super kind of easy way to think about this is, like, let's say that you have a window in your house and the sun is coming in this way, right? You don't want to face the window and then take the picture because it's going to blur it out. But if the sun is coming down this way, and let's just say your item is sitting right here, you want to be standing over here somewhere taking a picture of the item, right? So wherever the light source is coming from, you want to stand that way and then take the picture, right? That's how you get good lighting overall. Most of the time, you're not going to need to do anything fancy. If you have an iPhone, that's perfect. Most Androids take pretty good pictures as well. You don't need a professional camera or anything like that. So that's just a couple quick tips. So now we got our images. Now it is time to do the title, okay? And as you can see, this is the title that this person used that sold very well. I don't like this title completely, but we could just use it because it already worked, right? And that's super important. But what I would do is I would almost just get rid of this, and I would go here and I would write fast shipping. Or if you wanted to leave some of this other stuff in here as well, right? Like if we wanted to leave in virtual reality, then we could still do the same thing, and it's probably not gonna fit, right? So then we can just do fast ship. I never put a subtitle, never. And for the item category, it looks like we're already good to go, right? PC and console VR headsets in consumer electronics, virtual reality. Sounds pretty accurate, right? And store category is just set to other, that's fine. Item specifics, I don't know if this is right, to be honest, but I very rarely ever put in item specifics, okay? And the main reason for that is because I just don't think it's necessary, okay? So for example, you're required to put in the brand, the model, and the type, but I don't put in much more than that, okay? And what I mean by that is the brand is Sony. It is a Sony PlayStation VR2. And then for type, they have PC and console VR headset, which also sounds fine. So all of this, it's like, because sometimes it can be wrong, right? When you copy someone else's listing, I never trust that it's correct, all right? So just gonna get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. So the only thing that we added in was white. And the reason for that is, once again, because I just think that it leaves too much room for error trying to go to every single product and find the exact specifications. What if you accidentally looked at an older model? What if you accidentally look at, something else, right? Long story short, I personally like to keep this super simple. It doesn't mean that you have to do that as well. That is just my personal preference. Variations, I typically don't use this much, but as you can see, if you have different variations of the same item, let's just say that you're selling Sharpies and you have a black one, a blue one, and a silver one, then variations is where you would put that. So when they go to your listing, they'll be able to select if they want black, blue, or silver. All right, condition, new. And if you wanted to put used, you could. And then you're just gonna have to describe the actual condition of the item. And so you just wanna put just general kind of knowledge. So let's say I'm selling this t-shirt. So I would say good condition overall. It doesn't have a stain, but let's say it has a stain, has a minor stain on the left arm sleeve. View picture for detail. Besides that, great condition, right? Something like that, okay? New. And then for the description, once again, I like to keep this so simple. What I do is I just go to the title and I just paste the title back in there, okay? And maybe I'll just remove the ending, right? And then I'll just type a mini description, right? Brand new in box. Please let me know. Thank you for purchasing. Next up, we're gonna have pricing. And this is how you're gonna be able to find the overall market value of what your items are worth. And so it's super simple. We already did this, and we're just gonna come onto eBay, right? And we type in the name of the item. We can keep it pretty general. And then as we already did it, you wanna come and you wanna go to sold listings right here on the side. Just keep in mind that someone can list an item for whatever they wanna list it for. All right, I can go and list this item for $2,000. Doesn't mean that anyone's gonna buy it. And so if we go to sold items, which is what we did before, we can look at recent items. So this one was yesterday from when I'm making this video. And we can see that it sold for $340 with free shipping, okay? Keep scrolling, let's only look for brand new ones. $330, free shipping. $300, but it says new other, so it might be like an open box or something. We're not looking at that. $320, but they charged $40 for shipping. This one sold for $437, but it was also a while ago. So that's kind of like an outlier. Wouldn't really look at that one. We're only looking for brand new. $350. Okay, so they're going from $320 to $350. All right, it's pretty simple. And so you could either do like $320 plus shipping. You could do $340 with free shipping. I like to do free shipping most of the time, unless it's a super heavy item where I just don't know like what it's actually going to cost to ship it. So if it was me listing this item, I would probably list it around, I'd probably do like $339.99, and then I would do free shipping. And something else that's super important to talk about right now is doing a buy it now versus an auction, okay? Buy it now is you set your price and that's it. If they wanna buy it, then they can buy it for that price. Auction is a whole nother ballgame, okay? And I never, ever do auctions. And the main reason for that is because I am more or less always able to get the buy it now price for the items that I'm looking to sell, okay? Because I only go for items where I see that, for example, with this, we can see that there's a bunch of sales. There's like 4 or 5 sales happening every single day, okay? If I looked up this item and there was one sale in the past 2 months, then you would know that that item has a very low sell-through rate, and more than likely that item is going to be a very slow mover, which means that it's going to take you a long time to sell it. So when I'm looking for items, I look at what are very recent sales going for and how many of this item is actually selling every single month. And if there's like 10, 20, 30 plus items sold every month, then you can guess that that's probably going to be a pretty quick moving item for you. And if it's going for a good price as well, that's a good item that you should look into buying. So for auctions, basically what you can do is, you can do a starting bid. You can do it as low as like 99 cents, I think. And then it's an auction. People bid on it and bid on it and bid on it and bid on it. And the amount of times that the bidding war actually goes above the price that you just have it listed for buy it now, I feel like is not worth at all the actual chances of doing an auction. So we're gonna switch it back to buy it now. Always require immediate payment, because if you have this turned off, then someone could buy your item, but they didn't actually pay yet. Okay, and then they have, I think, 24 hours to pay or something like that, which makes no sense. Like, why would you allow someone to do that? So always turn this on, always. Quantity, we only have one of them. And you could allow offers. To me, it's just kind of a pain, okay, when you're selling new items, because people are just gonna be lowballing you. And so when you allow offers, you're letting the world know, you're letting people know that you are willing to accept less for this item. If I would allow offers on this, I would probably get a bunch of offers around 300, 280, but it just doesn't make any sense because we just saw that they're selling pretty good at this 340, 330, 320 price point. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Schedule your listing. I never really have a purpose for doing this, so I leave that off. When it comes to shipping, it's pretty simple to do. I think a lot of people overcomplicate this. All you're really gonna wanna do is just click on which provider you're looking to ship your item with. Is it USPS, the post office? Is it UPS, or is it FedEx? And then you're just gonna type in the dimensions of your package. And so if we were to sell something like this, okay, we wouldn't be able to just smack a label on this box. Okay, we would have to put another box around this box, okay, because that is gonna get damaged, and the last thing you want is to ship something to someone and it gets damaged. And so we're gonna talk about shipping a little bit after, and just how to get boxes and what to do about all that. But for the purpose of this section right here, which is just listing your items, all you're gonna wanna do is just type in the package weight and the dimensions. And for me personally, I like to use UPS. It depends on the item, but I usually ship items that are a little bit bigger. And so we're gonna be offering free shipping. International shipping, that is just something that is on by default from eBay. And so we just leave that on. And then one other thing to keep in mind, and once again, if you're in the US, is that I do not ship to Alaska and I do not ship to Hawaii. And the reason for this is because in the past, I've put free shipping on my items, okay? And what should have cost $10 to ship it to whatever state close to me, or even California, which is across from me, it ended up costing like $60, okay? And I do not ship to Alaska or Hawaii now, okay, for obvious reasons. The next important part of this is gonna be preferences. And handling time is basically how long you're gonna take to ship that item out. Okay, so I always like to keep this very low unless I'm doing like a pre-sale, which we'll talk about in a second. but you can have 1 business day, 2 business days, 3 business days. You can even do the same business day. I like to keep it at 1, especially if I have the item in hand. You could even do same business day, and that is just gonna incentivize people to buy your item over someone else because they know that they're gonna receive it quicker because you're shipping it out quicker. All right, so I like to just put 1. I don't like to commit myself to the same business day, to be honest, and I don't see many people that have an issue with me doing 1 business day. So we're gonna click on that. Never accept returns. I never accept returns, okay? Because a lot of times what will happen is someone will buy your item and because they're excited or they want that item right now, and then they get it and they're like, like maybe I don't want this item anymore, okay? But that shouldn't fall on me. That is their decision to purchase the item. And so I shouldn't have to not only accept the return and give them their money back, but I shouldn't have to deal with that return process, okay? It's just an extra package I have to deal with. It's just extra time, extra notifications on my phone, looking at eBay. And the last thing we're gonna talk about is promoting your listings. If your listing sells through the promotion, and basically all this means is that eBay is gonna bump your listings to the top. They might say sponsored on them. And if it sells through that sponsored listing, which you really have no way of even tracking if that's true or not, then eBay is gonna charge you more money and they're gonna take an even bigger cut from your item. So whenever I promote something, I always do the absolute lowest, which it used to be 1, but now it's 2. Okay, so I always, if I really want an item to sell, if it's something that a more expensive item that I'm trying to sell quickly, or I think that I'm able to get a good amount of money for it, then sometimes I'll throw on a promotion and I always just do 2%. It sells quick, right? I've never experimented with 10 or 20 because I've done 2 and it works, and I just keep it the lowest that it possibly can. And then we would just hit on list it. And now we have officially listed our item on eBay. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this same item and we're gonna pretend like we're selling this as a pre-sale item. And what that means is, let's just say that the release date of this item was today and they dropped on, let's just say, PlayStation's website, okay? We bought the item for $400. We thought that it was gonna be a good item, and we thought that there's a lot of demand for it and people are gonna be willing to pay more once the item sells out. And so let's say that we bought it for $400 and we think that we can get $550 for it. So the only real thing that we're gonna be changing is you're just gonna have to write in pre-order in your title. Okay, that's something that's important. In the past, we would do order confirmed, but now they want you to be writing pre-order in your title, okay? And then the only other real thing that you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to come down to the description, right? You're gonna say brand new. You can say bought directly from PlayStation's website. And then you can say will ship it out the exact same day that the package gets delivered to me. Okay, so we don't have this item yet in this example, right? We just bought it today. It hasn't shipped to us yet. It's a pre-sale. All right, so all you're gonna wanna do is type in pre-order, come down here and just change up the description a little bit. And then the other important part is you're gonna have to change the handling time, okay? Because if we kept the handling time at 1 business day, then that means that we would have to ship it out tomorrow if someone bought it today, but we don't have the item in hand yet. Okay, so you can just estimate this, right? If you know that PlayStation ships out very quickly, then you could do like 10 business days. I always like to play it safer, and so I'll usually go to like 15. And if it's an item that isn't gonna be shipping for like a month, then you could go to 30, or you could even go to 40 business days, okay? And keep in mind that this does not include the weekend. It's a business day, okay? So 30 business days is actually equivalent to like 5 or like 6 weeks from like this specific date. So that is gonna wrap up how to list your items on eBay. And so the next thing we're gonna be talking about is just the overall fees of selling on eBay. So this page here is gonna talk about everything selling fee related. And so different categories are gonna have different amounts of fees for selling on eBay. The average is like 7 to 15%, okay? And it might seem like a lot, and sometimes it is, and sometimes it adds up. And you need to be taking this into account when you're selling your items if you wanna actually be making money. But you only really wanna be buying items that you are able to make money even including the eBay fees, okay? And one thing you can do is you can try to sell that same item on Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp, right? Because when you're dealing with local buyers, you're not gonna have to pay these fees. And so you can just go through this and see the fees that you're gonna be charged on your items. And like I said, in most cases, and like it says, in most categories, it's gonna be around like 13%, okay? Which, once again, it might seem like a lot, but you have to take it into account. And even with these fees, I've still been able to make a ton of money with selling on eBay, and it's just part of the game. One thing I will mention as a way to potentially lower your fees is you can get an eBay store. And what this is you basically pay a monthly subscription fee to eBay, and they can give you perks and benefits, okay? And in some of these, it is actually cheaper fees in certain categories. The next point we're gonna be talking about is just shipping in general. And the main thing you wanna do is you never want to actually go to UPS or go to the post office and purchase a label there. You always wanna be purchasing your labels directly through eBay because they have special rates that are gonna be significantly cheaper than if you were to go physically into the store and get the label there. So that's one super important point. Another important point is that for most items, you're gonna need a box or a poly bag, or you're gonna need something around your item to be able to ship it out, okay? If you got an item delivered from a website, let's just say that we purchased that virtual reality headset from PlayStation Direct, that is gonna come in a box already. And that is why I personally love to be able to purchase items online and then flip them back on eBay, is because they got shipped to you in a box. So that item is already gonna have a box, okay? And so if that's the case, you just peel off the old labels on that box and then you just ship it out in the box that it came in. If you're planning to ship your items through USPS, the United States Postal Service, what you can do is you can actually go directly onto their website and you can actually purchase boxes. They're completely free and they will ship these boxes directly to you. Just keep in mind that you're only gonna be able to use these boxes if you're shipping your product through USPS. You can also look on Facebook Marketplace for boxes. You can look on Amazon. You can purchase very cheap bubble mailers or poly bags as well if you're gonna be shipping out kind of like smaller items. And if you're someone who really doesn't care, you can just go behind your local Walmart or Publix or Stop and Shop, wherever you live, and you can just get old boxes that they're gonna be throwing out. If you have newspapers or something, you can stuff it, pack it up a little bit, make sure that the item isn't flopping around and moving around everywhere. You don't have to get bubble wrap and make it all crazy and stuff like that. I almost never do that. And that's pretty much gonna be it for shipping. It's not super complicated. You put the item in the box, you pack it up nicely, you tape it, you print out your label, you tape the label on the box itself, and you just go to the post office and then ship that item out. Now, the last point that we're gonna be talking about in this video is just to see how much money you're actually making on your items. And that is gonna be in the payments tab right here, okay? So if you go to payments and you go to summary or you go to all transactions, you're gonna be able to see the total price that you sold the item for. You're gonna be able to see the amount of fees that got taken out for that item. You're gonna be able to see the shipping price, what you paid for that item. And ultimately, you're gonna be able to see the total amount of net money that you made that should be hitting your bank account, okay? And eBay has direct payments to your bank account. They don't use PayPal anymore. They used to use PayPal years ago, they don't. So basically, whenever you sell your items, they're gonna be put into this payments tab right here. You're gonna be able to see the exact amount, the total net amount after fees, after shipping, after everything that you got for your item. And that is going to be the total amount of money that ends up hitting your bank account. When you are first selling your items on eBay, a lot of the time they will end up holding your funds until the item actually gets delivered to the person that you're buying it from. But once your account gets more feedback, once the seller limits get lifted from your account, then for example, in my case scenario, I get paid usually the same day or the next day, or maybe it takes 2 days, but it's pretty instant payments whenever I sell my items. So I hope this video was able to help. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to drop them down in the comment section below. And once again, definitely make sure to check out my group if you're a reseller, if you're trying to make extra income every single month. Thanks so much for watching. And on that note, I will catch you all on the next one.